Hello and welcome back. Today, I am going to show you how to make classic bubble tea using Chatramu Assam red tea leaves. For those that do not know, Chatramu is a local brand in Thailand and they make Chatramu red tea, which is popular for Thai milk tea, and they also have the Thai jasmine green tea. This time, I'm going to show you the Assam red tea leaves, which is used for the Taiwanese style bubble tea. I have here with me 3 different types of bubble tea. Well, actually it is using the same tea, but I'm going to show you 3 different ways of making them using different combinations of milk and also sweetener. Before we continue, click that subscribe button. Okay, let's take a look at the ingredients. The tea, and then I am going to use the traditional way, which is using non-dairy creamer. Any brand will do. We are also going to use liquid creamer. I'm using here Carnation evaporated creamer, and I'm also going to use another method using sweetened condensed milk and also another liquid creamer here. And for the sweetener, it is using either fructose, which I really don't recommend, but I'm using my sugar syrup. And of course, because this is going to be bubble tea, I'm going to use my homemade Earl Grey jelly. You can use black tapioca pearls, gold tapioca pearls, cognac pearls, grass jelly, whatever is in trend. For the recipe today, I'm going to make them in 22 ounces cups. So these are the large cups. In most bubble tea shops, they would offer them in one size only, and that would be the largest. So that's 22 to 24 ounces cups. What are the tools that we need? If you have a small shop and you want to sell bubble tea the traditional way, all you need would be a kettle, especially if you don't have so much space to have a stove top and to boil your tea. A kettle would be perfect. You need a tea stock strainer. You need a jug to brew your tea. You might need a few jugs so that you can brew simultaneously. And then you need a shaker if you're using the shaker way. So I am going to use the shaker for this purpose. First, let's brew our tea. I'm going to batch brew 1 liter of tea, and according to the packaging of this brand, it says you use 60 grams of the tea to 1 liter of water. Use the strainer, add the 60 grams of tea leaves in the strainer, pour 1 liter of hot water, and steep it for about 15 minutes. So you don't have to do anything, you don't have to do the pour over, just steep the tea. Now let's wait for the tea to brew. So whilst waiting for my tea to brew, I have put my Earl Grey jelly in all my 22 ounces cups here, ready for me to assemble the drinks. So my tea is now brewed and it is smelling absolutely gorgeous. So this one is going to be a very strong blend. Okay, so for this I'm going to use a scale to make it easier for me to assemble the drinks, and I'm going to assemble them straight into my shaker. Let's start by making recipe number 1 for 22 ounces cup. And for this one, I'm going to stick to the traditional way of using the tea, the sugar syrup, and the non-dairy creamer. 200 ml of my tea. If your tea is not strong enough, you can go up to 240, but this tea is absolutely very strong, so I'm going to use only 200. Okay, using a scale. Okay, 200 grams of tea there. And for my 22 ounces cup, I am going to add 4 tablespoons of my creamer. So 1, 2, 3, 4. For the sugar syrup, 1 pump is 10 ml, so I'm going to add 6 pumps. 3, 4, 5, 6 pumps. Now this is depending on the sweetness level preference of your customers. 60 ml for 22 ounce is the full 100% sweetness level. Stir to somewhat dissolve the powder, and into this I'm going to add some ice. Not a lot of ice, you don't want to fill this shaker to the top. Okay, all you want to do is to really cool it down. Give it a good shake. And to serve this, I suggest that you fill it up with ice. And this is your classic milk tea or bubble tea with Earl Grey jelly using a combination of non-dairy creamer and sugar syrup. For recipe number 2, I am going to use a combination of liquid creamer, this is evaporated creamer, and combine it with sugar syrup. Set it to 0, and then my brewed tea, 200 milliliters. 60 ml of my liquid creamer. For my sweetener, I'm going to use my homemade sugar syrup, and I need 60 ml as well. So again, you can adjust this according to your preferences. 1 pump is 10 ml, so I'm going to add 6 pumps. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now add a bit of ice to cool it down, and then we are going to shake. Look at the color of this tea. It is very strong. It is not too runny. It looks thick, creamy, and concentrated. I'm going to add more ice just to fill it to the top, and you have your 22 ounces classic bubble tea using a combination of liquid creamer and sugar syrup. For the final recipe, this is going to be a combination of sweetened condensed milk, evaporated milk, and for the sweetener, just to make it not too milky, I'm going to add my sugar syrup. Use the same amount of tea, 200 milliliters, into the shaker. $30 ml of sweetened condensed milk, the same amount of evaporated milk or liquid creamer, 30 ml, so bringing it up to 60. I'm going to add just 15 ml or 1.5 pump of my sugar syrup, 1.5. Before we shake, add ice. And fill it to the top with ice. Okay, so there you go. 3 different recipes to make your classic bubble tea using this brand, Chatramu Assam Red Tea Leaves. The first is we use the combination of non-dairy creamer, powdered non-dairy creamer, and sugar syrup. And of course, my homemade Earl Grey jelly. I got the straw upside down. Try it again. There you go. Okay, and try it. I love my homemade Earl Grey jelly. The taste is very familiar. That is probably the most common recipes used by most of the bubble tea shops out there. Non-dairy creamer and also sugar syrup. And for this one, it's a liquid non-dairy creamer together with sugar syrup, the same amount of tea. Let's give it a try. The taste of the tea in this one is so much stronger, and it's also less sweet. Now let me try the final one. This one is using a combination of sweetened condensed milk, evaporated milk, and also sugar syrup. The tea is quite strong. It's perfect for bubble tea, the classic milk tea. And also the texture of this tea is good enough to even use with an espresso machine. But the downside is you have to use a lot. Now remember, we use 60 grams of this tea into 1 liter of hot water. You don't need to boil it because the tea is quite strong. As you can see from the color of this tea, they are the perfect color for bubble tea. Some of the bubble tea that I've seen out there are very pale in color, and if you see that, run a mile. Now it's the moment of truth. Which of these 3 is my favorite? If you'd like it to be that familiar taste of the classic Taiwanese bubble tea, I would suggest that you use the first recipe using a combination of powdered non-dairy creamer and the sugar syrup or fructose. And the second one is actually my favorite, but really it depends on the milk that you use. I am using a very rich liquid non-dairy creamer here, giving that rich and also delicious taste of the milk blending with the tea. And it's not as sweet as the non-dairy creamer used in the first recipe. Now the third recipe is using a combination of the sweetened condensed milk and evaporated milk, which are typically used for making Thai milk tea. The result is not bad, but it's not exactly perfect, for the classic bubble tea or the Taiwanese bubble tea. So I would say this will be the least of my favorite. I always say that the milk that you use will depend on the tea that you're going to make. So if you're going to make Thai milk tea, the perfect combination would be condensed milk and evaporated milk. But for the classic Taiwanese bubble tea, I would suggest either one of these two. Do give these recipes a try and let me know what you think. So that's how you make classic bubble tea using Chatramu Assam red tea leaves. This is not a paid promotion. If you have any questions at all about any of these recipes or the process that I've shown you, do let me know in the comment below. I'll see you again for more of these video clips. In the meantime, click that subscribe button. Take care, stay safe. Thank you for watching. Ciao for now.